There has been a trend going on in the car market where larger manufacturers are buying up platforms which have been relatively successful from smaller manufacturers. Once they get those platforms, they then rebadge them under their own brand identity and then sell it to the general market for a bit more money. Well, I'm Wema, this is Conversations, and here is why the 2017 Passo is a bit of a fraud. Here's my stop. I know. I call this car a fraud, but don't crucify me just yet. I have very good reason for calling this car a fraud. So, Daihatsu has been a subsidiary of Toyota from about 1998. And even since then, they've been taking parts from Toyota, such as the engine, transmission, and even bits and pieces of the chassis. In 2016, Toyota went to Daihatsu and was like, I want you. And Daihatsu was like, say less. I'm all yours, baby boy. And that's how Toyota bought over completely Daihatsu. That made Daihatsu be completely owned by Toyota. Since then, Toyota has been taking up Daihatsu cars, putting a little bit of badges onto the Daihatsu, mostly the Toyota badges and emblems all around, and then selling the exact same car for more money. That does not make sense to you, does it? But let me try and explain this a bit better, right? This is a Samsung. On the other hand, I have a proper phone, an iPhone. Let's say that these two phones are owned by the same company, Apple, right? But Samsung takes all its parts from the iPhone and is sold at Samsung prices. iPhone takes the exact same phone, puts a few Apple logos here and there, and then sells the exact same phone for more money. Fraudulent behavior. And that's the exact same thing that's been done with this car when you compare it with the exact same car, the Daihatsu Boon. All Toyota did for the Daihatsu Boon was add the Toyota emblem over here. I know I have a couple of fans out there. All they did was just add the Toyota logo at the front, added 200,000 shillings to the final sale price. It becomes ridiculous because it's the exact same car under the skin as the Daihatsu Boon. And it does not end there. Toyota are a massive culprit and really guilty of doing this multiple amounts of times. They've done the same thing with the Toyota GT86, rebadged it a bit and sold it as a Subaru BRZ. They did the same thing with the Toyota Ractis, rebadged a little bit into a Subaru Trezia, and on and on and on. It makes no sense whatsoever. They've done this not only with just the badges, as well as selling a few bits and pieces of the engine. Under the hood of this car, I have a 3-cylinder, 1-liter petrol engine known as the 1KR FE. Mated to that, you have a CVT transmission. The both of them working together make a whopping 68 horsepower, mind-bogglingly fast. And additionally, it has about 92 Newton meters of torque. Staggering. Watch out, Bugatti. This car is coming right after you. Now, the exact same engine that they use in this car has been replicated a multitude amount of times. We're talking about the Toyota Belter, the Toyota Vitz, the Toyota IQ, this Toyota Passo, the Daihatsu Boon, the Peugeot 108. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There is so many different cars in which the same engine chassis pairing has been used over and over again. But that does speak a little bit into the reliability of this car. But instead of me bashing this car on and on, let me take you on a little walk around this car and see how it really is. In 2004, the first generation of the Passo was released. That was while Daihatsu was still a subsidiary of Toyota. In 2010, the second generation was released. And in 2016, when Toyota completely bought out Daihatsu, is when the third generation of the Passo was released. The cute little frog that I'm reviewing today is the third generation of the Passo. This one in particular is a 2017 model car. Now, let's start with the front of this car. Like I said, it is a cute little frog. From up here, you have these beautiful looking lights that kind of resemble an eye. You have this lovely DRL that curls around it. This DRL is not standard with the base model. The one I'm reviewing here in particular is the Passo Moda, which gives you a few bells and whistles that don't come standard in the base model car. Like I mentioned, you have these lovely lights which illuminate themselves very beautifully during the day. Additionally, you have these ridiculously bright full lights, and going towards the bottom, you have these nice functional fog lamps. They do what is meant to be done. Going towards the center of this grille, you have a nice blacked out grille with the Toyota emblem in the middle, and then you have this ugly looking cutout right here, which is where your proximity sensors lay. That's right, this car does come with proximity sensors at the front, but no parking sensors, surprisingly, none on the front end of this car. Going down, you have cheap plastic. I mean, that does save you a little bit of money when you're trying to repair this car. When you hit it, you will hit it because it has no parking sensor at the front. But as Mbugo tells me, if you're not a real driver, you don't need cameras. That's Mbugo, not me. The front end of this car is relatively plain looking. There's not too much going on, as is with the exterior of this car and the car as an entirety. Going a bit further back, you have these 14-inch tires, which are standard. I've seen pizzas bigger than this tire. Like, it's quite small, but it's also very cute at the same time. Supporting these tires to the road, you have your McPherson strut at the front, as well as a couple more springs. At the back, you have your gas dampers and a multi-link system, which they work quite well in terms of the ride, but they are a little bit too firm. More on that later. Going down towards the side, you have these body colored side mirrors, as well as a couple of winkers over here that work relatively well. All in all, it's a bland car. There's nothing too special about this. It's very inconspicuous. You will not turn your head twice when you're looking at this car passing. You have these angular sharp lines that have been stamped out into the door, both the front and the rear door, as well as a small curve down here to give you, a few little angles and curves when you're looking at it. All in all, going down the side of the car, at the back, you have this little spoiler that just, edges ever so slightly over the rear view mirror. But let's take a proper look at the back of this car. The back of this car is, again, not so special, but it gets the job done. This car is definitely not a looker, but they try their best to make this cute little frog look a bit better. Now, as I mentioned before, this one in particular is the Moda spec. That means when you compare to the base model spec, you do have these cleared out taillights. Additionally, once again, you have your Toyota emblem right there, and then your Toyota Passo badge right there. Going towards the bottom of this grille, you have your reflector panels right there, a little bit of a tow hook over there, and then 2 parking sensors in the back. Once again, nothing flashy, just functional practicality, and again, a fraud. Let's open up the back of this car. Opening it is not that difficult. The boot is, a little bit spacious. With the rear seats up like this, you have about 255 liters of space, which are very, very practical. I'm able to fit in one bit of equipment over here, and the remaining space I can probably fit a small packet of PK, maybe a box of Orbit, and that's about it. Not that big. But should I decide to lower down this second row completely, I have now 630 liters of space. Again, it's quite large. It gets the job done. I mean, nothing too flashy, functional when you need it to be. Let's take a look inside this car. Before I even get in, now I have to set this thing up again, but let's get in now. Starting off in the back seat of this car, I am sat on these bench style looking back seats, which are very, very large and comfortable-ish for the amount of money you're paying, with this all fabric interior. The way they have tried to contrast the colors in this back seat is quite interesting. You have black, red and white, which I know they're trying to snazz this interior up a little bit, but it gets the job done when you're trying to travel. You can comfortably sit about 3 adults at the back here. The middle person will be a little bit squeezed because of this hump, but that shouldn't be too bad. Speaking of room, I have quite a decent amount of headspace and so much knee room, I can probably build a small block of apartments right here. Additionally, these seats do come equipped with ISOFIX plugs where you're able to comfortably and safely secure cocoa felons, and you know that they'll be okay wherever you go. Lastly, this back seat, again, not that much storage. I don't even have back seat compartments on this side, but there is one right behind the passenger seat. I have relatively shallow door bins, so there's not that much spacious, there's not much storage capacity. This door card, on the other hand, is just completely plastic. I know you're paying 1.2 million shillings, but on the other hand, Demio is gracious enough to give you a little bit more touches of luxury, quote unquote, in this particular class. They are generous enough to give you, a bit of leather here and there, a bit of fabric on the doors. I feel like the frauds that are Toyota could have done a lot better in this back seat. But let's go to the front. The front cabin of this particular car is once again, very fraudulent. Fun fact, with this steering wheel, there are some Toyota Passos which do come with the Daihatsu emblem over here. It's as though Toyota are not even willing enough or caring enough to properly change all the badges before they charge you 200,000 shillings more than the exact same car actually costs. But let me not rag on this car much longer. Let's start with this dashboard. It is a very wide and flowing dashboard. You do have these little bits of contrasting colored accent pieces that surround this infotainment screen and a couple of the air conditioning vents. It is maroon in color, but I don't think it really fits the interior that well, but that's again just me being very nitpicky. This dashboard continues down where you have your hazard light right there. You have a bit of a storage cubby over there where you're able to comfortably put your phone while you're driving, although during some corner taking it is susceptible to sliding around a little bit. Here, going down towards the center console, you have this column mounted gear lever, which is very ergonomical and easy to reach, especially when you're trying to change the gears. And on this other hand, you have your climate control, which is very easy to access and very straightforward in terms of its controls. This car is monozone climate control. That means not even your passenger is able to, change their own air conditioning to their feel. Whatever the driver wants, the driver gets, and that's about it. You do have this center armrest over here, which does offer a little bit of storage, enough to fit nothing, maybe a box of matchsticks, and that's about it. But if you do raise it up a little bit and you do want to carry an extra third person here, you probably can. I don't advise it, but you probably could. Let's put that back down before we get into trouble. Now let's focus on this steering wheel. It is a very ergonomical steering wheel, but let's turn it on. Push to start. At least they did something interesting in this car. It is push to start, and you have this lovely regularly sized steering wheel which gets the job absolutely done. You do have this small section over here which helps you control your infotainment screen. I cannot read Japanese, so I will not even attempt to control that section over there. Looking through my steering wheel, I have this large, I must say, beautiful gauge cluster. I have an affinity towards analog gauge clusters, and this one is particularly well set together. It's very legible. The font is looking nice, a little bit sporty, going all the way to a mind-boggling 180 kilometers an hour. And for some reason, you do have a rev counter on this CVT. Now, Toyota CVTs are not as problematic as Nissan CVTs, but a CVT is still a CVT. And CVT transmissions do have their issues here and there. They do have oil leaking issues, and the oil leaking does lead to overheating issues, which can cause a problem down the line. Additionally, the gear selection can be a bit of a challenge. The car has a mind of its own, and it'll put you in whatever gear it thinks is right for you. Most often, it's wrong. The CVT transmission is also pretty loud. However, like I spoke about at the front of the car, Toyota CVTs are known to be relatively reliable. That's why they've been put in so many cars. You'll rarely hear issues, major issues particularly, coming from the Toyota CVTs. So they have done a good job in maintaining the longevity of the car. Additionally, when you go down towards the side, I have my engine start stop, as well as the buttons to control some of the driver aids that are in this car. I do have my auto start stop. I also do have traction control. I don't know how you'll be able to break traction in this car. Then again, it is a very rapid car, very quick and sporty. Last but not least, as I mentioned at the front, you also do have your collision warning in this car. Focusing on these seats that I'm sat on, they are very large, comfortable seats, to be very honest with you. Going for long distances might not be the best of things because you are sat quite high up in this car, but at the same time you do get a few controls, manually controlled of course, where I'm able to lower the seat, raise it a little bit, and again, it's an all fabric seat. It should be relatively easy to clean and maintain, but all in all, I do feel like they could have done a little bit better. Lastly, let's finish up with some of the things I don't like about this front end. There is an ocean of plastic inside here. It's almost like they've recycled every single bit of little plastic and put it in this car, because the amount of plastic in here is just ridiculous. But all in all, it's not too bad. But let's see how she drives on the road. Driving this Passo, I'll cut to the chase. It's a boring car to drive. Don't get me wrong. If you want something to get you from point A to point B with utmost efficiency, this is definitely the car to drive. But speaking from a driver's perspective or a driver's point of view, there's nothing particularly interesting about this car. Well, the way I sit in this car, I am sat very high up. It's relatively uncomfortable. It's very spacious, yes, but the seats are very bland, right? My viewing angles out of this car are really, really good. I'm able to see everything, both in front of me, behind me as well. Like the view from the rear view mirror is very well, it's open, it's nice, it's a very open interior, but at the same time, it's quite boring, honestly. I do have these massive windows out of the side of the car where I'm able to see everything. The side mirrors get the job done well, and even the blind spots are not that big. The brakes are horrendous as I'm going around these cows over here. It just feels very, very bland. Now, let me stop ragging on this car for too long. Speaking from a practicality point of view, and even a comfort point of view, I'm very able to reach everything within the interior with relative ease. I'm able to control the infotainment screen using these buttons on the steering wheel. I'm able to see the odometer very, very well. It's quite legible. I don't have to struggle too hard to convert things inside my head. The way the column shifter is sat right here, I'm able to control it very easily, as well as the air vents additionally, like the air conditioning and all those controls related to it, very, very accessible. It's not that bad. Now, speaking about this steering wheel, it's very bland and basic. Again, just your regular plastic leather on this steering wheel, and the handling that's attached to the steering wheel it's very direct, but at the same time there is a slight amount of input lag when it comes to the driving feel. The way the car has been set up and the suspension has been calibrated, it's very firm, but not ridiculously firm. You don't have too much lean into the corners. The McPherson struts at the front and the gas dampers at the back doing a really good job of making the ride as comfortable as possible at the lowest possible price point. So it's not that bad when all in all is considered. I feel like they could have done a lot better in terms of how they set up the interior, but then again, at the price point that it's at, it's not too bad. But if you do compare it with like your Mazda Demios and everything, you're adding a bit more money for a better interior on the Demio. Anyways, we'll get onto that in a little bit. Bogwa!
Yeah, my Uber driver.
Hey, wait. I finally have Mbugo in the car now. We're able to check how long, not how quick, how long it will take us to get from 0 to 60, right?
Oh my god.
Are you excited for this?
Obviously. I think, why do I feel like it will prove you wrong?
All that whooping 68 horsepower.
But a few things to add about this car. One, the Passo has always been more of like Uber placed. Like, I'm not a Passo.
Yeah.
Uber. But I feel like the 2017, especially this third generation, kind of changed the bit of a perspective of we don't want just to be Uber anybody. Someone say kawaida anaweza nunua gari nikue like personal day to day.
Oh, for sure.
Of color.
Yeah.
I love how the interior, the color coding, the maroon, there's silver, there's black. There's all sorts of colors here, by the way. I don't know if the maroon was supposed to be red, then they forgot
to add a bit more dye. Budget ended.
I don't know. And also, as people can see, hapa kati mimi na Mwemo, there is this, it's like a third city, if I must say.
Yeah.
Uber guy, you still lucky. You kipeleka huko Masaini bana unabeba watu 7.
Be for real, Bogo. Be for real.
Kama Pote carries 10 people bana. You know you've never been into those cars. Haujafinywa car. Unapangwa hapa kwanza the rest has to like drive this way. He has to be outside. Hey, hanging, driving.
Nah, thankfully not. Anyways, should we check how quickly this car will take us from 0 to 60?
We should,
yeah? Let's get around this bend and then we test out this CVT.
Did I just hear you say that 0 to 100 will be like...
Eventually.
We'll be there.
Eventually.
We will be there.
Right? No. Okay. So, you ready?
Aye.
Clear that?
Set.
Okay, ready?
I am here. You brake boosting, you're trying to brake boost it.
Yeah.
Aye, let's go. Oh, okay.
Oh wow, my neck has broken. That was such a rapid takeoff. Bro, the CVT is screaming louder than oh my goodness. Hey, no. We're not yet at 100. My goodness. The CVT is fighting for its life.
The brakes are bad.
These brakes are horrible. Oh my goodness. I almost cleared somebody's cows over here.
And this cows.
We would have had beef for dinner without wanting. Okay, tell me. 0 to 100?
200 in 16.92 seconds. Well, it's not bad. Let me tell you. Do you know we did an Outlander that had, I think, we used it at 4-speed.
Hey.
I think that car took over 19 seconds.
No, but that's an Outlander. It's a big, heavy car, you know. It has presence. This does not even have presence inside a playground. It's so small and...
But the Passo will still beat it.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't like it.
Actually, let me tell you, for me, Passo and the Hatsu by itself was never meant to impress anybody. It was supposed to be something that you'll be look at and be like, blah. But when you get inside, it was supposed to surprise you because of the space, the interior, the cabin feel. It's a very big car. Literally, I'm standing inside this car.
Instead of yapping too much there, actually come and test this car out. If anything, Pia, trip yako imeisha. Umeleta ngapi hapo kwako? Bossman, you're now in the driver's seat.
I'm your Uber now.
Yes. I won't tell you the estimate though. How does it feel?
One, I think something we haven't talked about is the road noise.
The road noise is ridiculous.
I think people can. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's a cheap car. It's not those quite high end, and always you'll have those flaws.
Definitely.
Car easy shocks. The shocks you feel every little marble, every little unasikia uto tu bumps tudogo tu wote. Yani unasikia. It's not a really comfortable car, if I must say. There are people who love it actually.
Yes.
Honestly, there are people who love it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's here not there.
It's a very mid car.
I have my cluster, which is, as you said, well arranged.
Yeah.
You have your, I don't know why you have a rev counter, and this is a CVT.
I respect it. It's a sporty car.
Okay, so you have the maroon. Yeah. I have a place where I can place my phone here. Kawen mso ajaba. You put your tools. Tools.
Right there.
Right here. Other than that, and then something that I love about collar mounted shifters is they create a bit more space hapa.
You have a lot of space.
Nakwambia hapa unaongeza mtu mwingine hapa.
Realistically, even you can put a small cooler box in the middle over there.
Exactly. Ama your kid, you know how kids baba ni bebe sijui nataka kukaa na wewe hapa mbele.
Why are you talking about kids now? Bona, we're still far.
I know, I'm just saying because I'm thinking of a person who's going to buy this car. Might be a dad doing an Uber during the day ama whichever.
True, there's a sense of practicality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now the big question is value for money for this car.
Right. So when it comes to value for money, of course, the cars within this particular class, you have the regular culprits, Demio, Vitz, Fit, and all those other smaller cars, right?
Okay, not really.
They're not really K cars, but the more subcompact, the mini hatches or subcompact hatches. This one in particular is the cheapest one out of that particular lineup of cars, especially the ones from more reputable manufacturers. But here's the question, Bugwa, does it really make sense for you to pay almost 200,000 shillings more for a Toyota badge?
No, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't. Honestly,
it really doesn't. Because, okay, fine. There are some of you who are watching this who are Toyota mafia. Like, you would buy anything as long as it has a Toyota badge in it because you have that loyalty to the brand. That is not me. Because you can get cheaper, the exact same car for cheaper.
Same engine, same transmission.
Same engine, transmission, platform.
Fuel economy will still
everything
be the same.
For cheaper. So why spend that money on this?
Okay, I think I won't blame them actually, because I feel like it's something that you have. That's why we are here. That's why we are here to teach them about those stuff.
Right.
About rebadging engineering. It's been happening. It's always been there, and I think kuna time tulifanya video about rebadging engineering.
Yeah.
How it's crazy, you're going to buy one car from Toyota Kenya on this side, and when you go to Suzuki Kenya this side, you're spending less 400k from Toyota.
Exactly.
You're buying the same car. For me, particularly the Passos don't make value for money for me, because honestly, I think the Daihatsu Boon as itself is right now the cheapest. Same everything, but
you're getting it for cheap.
For cheap.
You can get it for almost 900k.
By the way,
yeah,
900k,
literally 900k, and this one is going for 1.12, 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Exactly.
But we're not discouraging you to get a Passo. You see, not everybody has the preference of. I think the reason why people don't buy the Daihatsu, it's not people are not familiar with the Daihatsu itself.
Yeah.
See, watu wote wako like familiar na any Daihatsu hii. Haini get it the same na Toyota. See, for us, we're taking it as a normal thing, because we kind of done our research and tunajua hii gari gani.
Exactly.
No.
So see, now that's been the whole essence of this video, to try and teach people on some of these things. So like when you're going to buy a car, just do a little bit of research, and don't forget, here at Conversations, we are car consultants at the same time. Eminem, yes, we have banter, but we are here to help you in the car buying process. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. We'll be more than happy to answer them. But today we are not even actually going to tell you whether or not to buy this car. You tell us what you think, right?
True.
Exactly. So signing out, it's been Eminem. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe.
Mbugo here.
Yeah. Catch them on the next one.
Catch them on the next.
End the trip here, please. Umefika.
Umefika nini? Umelipa kwanza, kama kuna discount hata sikushukishi.
Sina discount. Iko kwa card. It's in the card. I'm not paying cash.
Bye guys.